Well, one of our gCADPlus users wants to know how to present his design in a layout sheet. He wants to work on an A3 sheet, how to incorporate title block and so on. So let's imagine that he's started work on the design. He's drawing the footprint of the house, which runs through there. He used a polyline. I've set my drawing colour to red, and he started at 0, 0. He has put polar on and just heads off in the polar direction across to the right and types 6,000 for the millimetre distance for the entrance to the garage, then heads up in this direction 4250 and then across like so. So all I'm doing is moving my cursor in the direction I want to go and then just type the distance measured as he runs around the house. So we're now 3,000 units down in this way, 3,000 millimetres, across here 3,500. Hits the enter key, comes down here, 2,300 there, and then across an unusual distance, 1,580. And the reason for that is that this is where the entrance to the property is. So now he goes ahead and develops the landscape design. I've put that on a layer. He put it on a layer, KRL, and so I turned it on. So there's his design. So the entrance to the driveway here, you could add an image of a vehicle in there to give a sense of scale. Comes around here. What I'll do is turn on View and make the background colour white. That makes it a little easier to see. Well, now our user wants to present the design on an A3 sheet. To do that, it's Format and Layouts and New and pick an A3 sheet. Clearly, we'll need an A3 sheet here in Landscape View, and we'll pick Landscape. So notice that the size is 297 wide by 210 high, so we'll OK that. And OK, nothing happens until you click the tab down in the base which says Layout. So let's zoom extents. We turn grid on. I think we can turn it off for the moment. So you're looking at an A3 sheet of paper. In fact, if we use the distance command, it should be some 420 or thereabouts across. So there's the sheet. The crux of his problem is, how do you present this in a professional way? How do you put title block information in here? Because the drawing colour is red, the boundary of the design itself shows as red. And if I want to change the view of what we see on this sheet, I double click here and that jumps us into this magenta box. I can make the box a bit smaller because I want the box to encompass the whole design. Then I right-click and display it on the layout. To get rid of the dotted line, just double-click somewhere in the design. What I'm going to do now is change that drawing colour of that floating viewport, it's called, to white. And we now have white border on a white background, and when we unselect all, there's our design. The next step is how do you put a title block information in here? Well, we provide some under Library, Details. I think if we go to Logos, we might even find one in here that can help us. If we click on 7 Designer Logos and open it up, and the one we want is this one down here, and Urbre Designer 7, we'll pick it up. No, it's not that one, or that one. Oh, here it is. One called Urbre Logo and Title, and we can insert it into this drawing. So in it comes, and I'll pop it down. It comes in as a block, as one unit. So we can scale it, and maybe if we scale this one by 0.5, that will drop into 0.5, hit enter, that'll drop into the drawing sheet. So that's looking reasonable. I'll take line weight settings off at the moment. Just click on LWT, and that says copyright's a very old one, isn't it? 2011. So we want to play with this. So we pick it and say edit the block. We'll move that piece of text down under here. We'll leave its height set at 2 units, but we'll jump in there and make that 2018, and we're okay in here. Now we can change the text here. Carol, I always like to, got caps lock on, I always like to leave, when I'm doing designer logos and so on, leave those as individual pieces of text. That means we can change, if you want the emphasis to be here, you could change that height to say 7, and we could then change the font. So let's grab hold of that and move it into position. And we've got a little logo design there, which of course you would change and update the information, make it stand out and be a little more interesting. Pick those, and text styles, currently a style called Garden Designer. We could make that a style called Architect D, and there we've got a more interesting title block. And now, because that font is a little bigger, we need to move it across and close the block editor and unselect all. There's our drawing sheet now displayed on an A3 piece of paper, and we are ready to print. Now, it can be a little tricky to, let me select that floating viewport, to fix a scale. That's close to 50, so a scale of 1 to 50 would work there. But what I recommend you do is go back to Model Space, go to the Library, Details and Scale Bars, and just pick an appropriate scale bar. You probably want a 5-section scale bar. There's a nicer one here somewhere. This one here I think works better. Insert it into the drawing and we'll pop it down just in this area here, and you'll need a north indicator as well. So if we go to layout, you can see we're not quite positioned the way we want, and it's also not standing out as well as that logo, that bar should. So let's jump into there, edit it, and we'll move for the moment everything back to color by layer, and then close that block editor. So now it stands out very nicely. To fix the problem of we can't quite see it on the sheet, we can jump in here, display it on the layout, and pick the floating viewport. You can pick it up by the middle and just move it up and unselect all. Now the design is now appropriately displayed on the drawing sheet. As we zoom in, we've still got this problem of that logo not showing up properly here, and it does show up properly in Model Space. So I'm not quite sure what's happening there, and I'm wondering whether if we pick the floating viewport and right click and go to viewport layers, whether not all layers are in fact turned on. So I need to investigate that a little more. It could just be that we're clipping the edge. So if we pick our design and just move it up a little and move the floating viewport down, and we see what we want. So what was happening was a little bit of clipping. So it's zoom extents, and now it's time to print that drawing complete with the title block. You'd fill in information on the site and print. You probably want a north point, which you can also bring in from the library details. So to make a quick print for the client, it's just File, Save as a PDF, a window, just put a box around all the information that you want, and we'll print it, overwrite one called Philip, and we should see a PDF file. And now there's our presenter design, which I'm relatively happy with. So I hope that shows how you go about presenting your drawing and printing your drawing from model space and then into layout space.